What's the value of real money today? And what is it really going to buy you? Stay tuned and find out. Welcome to the Wealth Transfer. My name is Terry Saka. I'm the Chief Strategist, and I am along still with Dr. Charles Vance. Welcome, Charles.
What did that mean?
For those that have not been around, Wealth Transfer has been airing on Christian television for years, and most of the time here is really, past Charles here that got me into it.
Here, let me tell you how this happened. Terry's wife and my wife and me ganged up on him because he didn't want to be on television. And I said, people that have the knowledge that you have need to tell people. And we dragged him, horse-tied him, whatever, hog-tied him, and we started doing TV together.
Well, and then here we are today. We've expanded a lot. And so, just so you know how you can get a hold of us, go to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. You can review a lot of these past programs. You can go to YouTube, of course, and Terry Saka AAMS for Twitter. There I have relevant news feeds you're probably not catching in mainstream media, so it's a great way to pick up with very short amount of time. And I do encourage you, go to Instagram. Instagram for Cornerstone Mint, I think, has wonderful videos as well as pictures of just money. And it's just, I think it's beautiful. I think you're doing a great job there. But visit us on Facebook too and like us. Be a part of the community and stay informed.
This week we want to talk about the value of money, maybe the value of your checkbook, your savings account, your 401k, your IRA, or even the candy bars you have in your refrigerator.
Oh, you went through already. Here's why Charles is doing that. We're going to show an amazing video here that, and believe me, it's real, but money, remember, Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution says Congress has a right to coin money. Money was defined in Webster's dictionary in the 1800s as, you got it, grains of silver, grains of gold. That was really the only money because money is an asset, a tangible asset that has added value over time, whereas this paper currency has lost value over time. Of course, now down to pennies on the dollar compared to what this used to buy you back in the early 20s. So we want to go right in because we're going to show you the value of real money today. And this video is no joke. This is how, I don't blame the American people. I blame the education system because it was by design. You ask a college graduate about the gold standard, about our money, they don't teach money in college. We know this. And it's by design that they do not teach you the root of value, the root of real money. And when we get into our series here in the near future about the stages of an empire, and you saw how empires in the past had risen to greatness and collapsed, you're going to see. Now, I'm not advocating America is going to collapse. But I tell you what, the Chinese and Russians have their way. We're going to be stepping down off that peg, and I just think we're coming into a very precarious time. Although I think President Trump's doing an amazing job of kind of reorganizing the chips of the global economy and the world stage, but he's up against a pretty big wall. So let's show this video. This video is a take on real money, but you're not going to believe how many people don't recognize what money is. So take a look at this.
It's your lucky day today. You win a free 10-ounce silver bar, pure silver bullion, or a free Hershey's king-size chocolate bar.
Take this one.
You'll take the chocolate bar. Who needs a 10-ounce bar of silver? No. Have a good day. It's your choice. A free 10-ounce bar of silver bullion or a free king-size Hershey bar.
I think I'll take the Hershey bar.
Go ahead. It's your lucky day. Just fresh out of the refrigerator.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who needs a 10-ounce bar of silver when you can have a good, delicious bar of chocolate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You'd rather have the Hershey bar than the silver bar?
Yes, I would.
Oh, you would? Okay.
Yeah, the Hershey bar, you just can't eat the silver bar.
Yeah, that's right. You can't eat the silver. What are you going to do with a 10-ounce bar of silver, right? Which one do you want?
Probably the chocolate, because I'm a girl and
Go.
it's been a cranky day.
Okay, it's yours. Eat it quick because it's getting hot out here.
It's fine.
To me, that's one of the most amazing videos that I've ever seen to actually show the knowledge, or I should say the lack of knowledge, that people have in tangible items, such as silver or gold or
No, and I believe
whatever
at
it
that
would be.
time, I'm not exactly sure, but it doesn't matter, it's pretty close. He was saying that you could have the candy bar or you could have this 10-ounce bar of silver, I believe it was at the time. And what they didn't realize is the price of silver, if they just would have sold it behind him, they took the candy bar.
Pawn shop
yeah,
behind
the coin store shop behind him. They would have been able to buy 170 candy bars for that silver instead of the one they took. And that is proof pudding of our education system on what they want us to believe, but we in the kingdom are ahead of them because God said in Haggai 2:8, the gold is mine, the silver is mine. Article 1, Section 8 of our Constitution, grains of silver is our money. If we get back to, and we always did stay in real money, we would have a tremendous wealth already, but the wealth transfer coming for those that catch on to this is going to be, pretty substantial, and so we just encourage the kingdom to be diversified.
One of the things that we have to do is educate ourselves to some degree, and it doesn't take an outrageous amount of your effort or time to educate yourself. My brother Mike is 4 years older than me, and when I was a kid, my brother Mike would trade me, and he told me about this, and it was verified several times by several different people. He would trade me a nickel for a dime. The reason he would do that, or the reason I would trade my dimes to him for a nickel, is because I thought the nickel was bigger, therefore I thought it was worth more. So many times people think something is worth more just because of the appearance of it. The scripture is very clear to tell us that we actually don't have the ability in the natural to discern some of the things that we should, because the natural man doesn't pick up on the things of the Spirit of God. And we talked about this probably 4 weeks ago, how that we need to become people that are spiritually perceptive to God. And we've talked about, as we talked on that show, we talked about how that many times we would have just a warning inside, and a warning not in a sense of, I'm going to get you if something's bad is going to happen, but you need to do this or you need to do that. And by doing so, we need to learn to pay attention to that still small voice that's on the inside. I want you to learn to do that with your finances. I don't want you trading off your dimes for nickels, and I don't want you to take a candy bar instead of a piece of silver.
Well, how funny you say dimes for nickels, right? Wait until we show them that thing with the picture with the dimes. But before we do that, let's look at this. This is a actual physical chart of silver. And we want to show you, this is real money now. Mind you, Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution said grains of silver was our dollar.
Here is one that is a gold certificate, and it actually says on it, paid to the bearer in gold.
In gold.
In gold.
Yeah.
Whatever the face value is on these. This is a duplicate, of course.
Well, that's interesting that that's the case
But
there.
that no longer exists.
No.
Now what is on our bills is the Federal Reserve note. A lot of people don't know that the federal government, when they came off of the standards, of gold and silver standards, that the Federal Reserve made a Federal Reserve note law that made you take this for all debts, public and private.
Right.
And if you didn't, when they originally started the Federal Reserve note, it was punishable by imprisonment if you didn't take this for a debt, because they knew that it had no intrinsic value to it.
And yet, and people don't think gold, silver, this, that, what does it really mean? But I tell you what, I'm going to get into explaining this because this is the real value money. But before we do, Charles, let's show
Well,
them.
before we do, we need to go to just a short clip and tell you how that you can get established so that wealth can be transferred to you and not from you. Watch this. We'll be right back.
Buying power. What does it mean to you and your family? Have you noticed the prices of everything we buy are rising? Goods and services are becoming more expensive, and the money you work so hard for buys less and less and less. If you saved $250,000 in cash in the 1960s, that cash today would be worth approximately the same, $250,000. Yet does it have the same buying power today? No, not even close. Now take that same $250,000 from the 60s saved in silver instead of cash. Today, it would be worth a staggering $4.25 million. Now that's buying power. Protect and preserve your buying power now by rolling over a portion of your IRA into a silver IRA. Use the power of constitutional money silver to protect your standard of living in retirement and maintain the quality of life you are hoping for. The paper dollar you are saving has tremendous challenges ahead, so don't delay. Call Cornerstone Asset Metals now at 888-747-3309. Don't give away your hard-earned savings any longer. Be diversified. Get protected today.
Welcome back. Now, I do encourage for those that are getting close to the decision of diversifying, your 401ks, your IRAs, it's really where we, the people, keep most of our wealth, next to land, of course, or our real estate. But be cautious on being all in the markets right now. This is a good time to get diversified. Rolling over your 401k and IRA, a portion of, into physical tangible assets, silver and money, is really a great idea right now because the price point, you're going to be able to buy a lot, and being that the markets are so high, it's just a good way to take it off the table.
Should we caution people not to buy silver stock on the stock market?
Good point.
Because it's really deceptive.
You know what? That's a very good point Charles is saying. Financial advisors are going to try to get you to buy silver in the SLV or in the stock market. And absolutely no. And the reason is they don't want money leaving their house. Matter of fact, they get in trouble if it does. And they cannot deal in the real physical tangible asset. Why we don't want paper is because we don't know exactly how this is going to play out. We only can assume that all this blows up, we have a little bit of correction, the dust settles, and we get back into the economies again. We don't know. I have talked to some incredibly intelligent financial managers, and I'm talking even people at billionaire levels that say, you know, something is so wrong this time around with all the money printing and debt expansion. I'm not so sure after this next correction the market even goes back up. So physical asset, at least if you have to, even in your retirement account, you can have this shipped home. You pay the taxes, but so what? You can own it. The paper can disappear. And if you knew the statistics on how manipulated that paper is, you wouldn't want to get held holding a worthless title because there's no title is the point. But silver is physical and you own it, and that's really important.
Well, if you buy silver in the stock market, a stock of silver or a certificate of silver, it's actually it's been marginalized, hasn't it? I mean it's actually
it's not real. You can't own it.
It's not real, and they don't have that silver on deposit either.
Well,
I mean,
they say they have the silver in the SLV. But J.P. Morgan controls it, and J.P. Morgan's probably the most corrupt on this trade because they inherited it by Bear Stearns, and this is controlled. Now, why are they manipulating gold and silver? I'll just tell you briefly. The perception psychologically, if gold were to go above 2,000 or silver above 50, psychologically the world would know that the dollar is in so much trouble that it would be an exodus. And of course, folks, we would be in a near bankrupt state beyond. We're in worse condition now than we were in 2000 or in the Great Depression. They're just not, it's just fake. It's in a smoke and mirrors, situation. So they can't allow the metals to go up. So they sell in the futures market gold and silver physical contracts that they don't own. It's called a naked short. But the bottom line is they have sold, this is amazing. They have sold on paper in the futures market that controls the physical price. They have sold upwards to 700 ounces on paper for every 1 real ounce in the vault for delivery. Now, if there's 700 people on one side of the street, 1 ounce on the other, and if it hits hard enough where you better have a title to your asset, say go. Who's going to get it? So we don't want to be in paper in the stock market because we don't know the level of reset calamity that could be caused. And in the end of the day, If it's in your hand, how much are you willing to pay for it? And that's where I believe the wealth transfer comes. I'm not even talking about, folks, to the highs. And we're going to get into some data here that'll show you. Just the highs to silver is a 200% return from here. That's pretty good. You're not going to see 200% of the stock market anytime soon whatsoever.
What you're
so
saying
keep that
by
in mind.
that, what you're saying by that is if silver actually goes up to where it has been.
Yeah, just a few years ago.
where it has been.
Yeah.
That you would double your money.
Yes, as a matter of fact, let me show that. I'll show it right now. This is a graph of silver. Now, this shows all the way back to really 1970 when we came off of the dollar standard. You see that big rise, that was back in 1980 where we had big, huge, epic spike of gold and silver. Then they manipulated it down, and for just years it was flatlined, down to like $4 an ounce. Then we rose back up, for those that remember in 2011, we saw $50 silver again, or 48, and then it sold off again, where we sit today at around 16. In a technical term, this would be known as a cup and handle. The next position from this in technical charting shows it goes straight up, but not only does it go up, it goes far beyond. So we're probably looking at greater than $50 in this next cycle. But I'm saying, Charles, even if it's just 50, that's 200%. And no one's going to see that in the stock market, unless it's an individual stock, of course.
I feel like it's really necessary to do this because it seems like the mentality of people is real short right now as far as like, and I don't mean that to be rude, there's a short attention span that seems like, and it seems like that there's a get-rich scheme mindset in a lot of people. And this is not get-rich-quick scheme. That's not what this is about. This is something tangible. I own some land in Florida, and we bought it as investment property. It went way up, and it popped back down, and it's easing its way back up. You know why? Because you can't make any more land, and it has a value regardless of what anybody says or whatever the market is doing. It still has value. You know what I'm doing? I'm hanging on to it for a while. You know why? Well, I don't have to sell it, and it just keeps creeping back up, and it's going to creep back up because it's land. You can't go in and throw it away somewhere. This, you can burn it. You can strike a match to this.
That?
Huh?
We were talking about that.
Have a
hey,
match?
I tell you what, we were talking about this. We were going to burn a dollar bill to show you how easy it is to evaporate, and try burning silver. Silver burns. It's like 1,700 degrees.
Yeah,
before
this
it
would
melts,
burn your hand, maybe be the only problem. But,
right.
But the fact is, that's how simple this is. This is something that's tangible. You can go and dig a hole in my property that I've got, and it's still there. The property's still there.
Oh, and by the way, some people from that same area, because I have land there too in that area, people are contacting to build.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
They're actually trying to build now, so that, I thought that was really exciting.
Yeah, there's actually a shortage of houses in the area that we're in.
That's good news. But as far as what's going on right now in value, when we were talking about silver, and then we showed the video, and then we showed you the chart, here is a great picture. This is real now, mind you. This is a gas station where they put up a chart, or put up a poster, and it said gasoline. Now, this is when gas was $4 a gallon, folks. Well, right now almost. Gasoline, 20 cents a gallon. But if you notice the asterisk below, if it's paid with a 1964 or older dime, quarter, or half-dollar coin. Now, why is that? Because the silver content in the coin literally allowed you to buy a gallon of gas. Isn't that incredible? So keep that in mind. So this is value because the paper dollar can't buy that. It took $4 to buy a gallon of gas, but yet it was only 20 cents for the silver. And this was actually a real sign. And the guy was smart. They actually up in the Midwest.
And it's for real.
Not the Midwest, but the Northwest, they actually do that. They'll take silver for groceries and stuff.
Isaiah 48:17 says, I'm the Lord that teacheth thee to profit, and which leadeth thee by the way that thou shouldest go. We can lead you, God can lead you, but you've got to be willing to follow. Here's some things that you should be following. Watch this. We'll be right back.
Terrorism, a volatile stock market, rising food costs, natural disasters. Every day our economy is at risk, but your assets should not be. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked so hard to gain. Whether you have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, our accredited asset management specialists are here to support you. Call now and we'll send you urgent information regarding changes to the dollar and challenges to our economy that you need to be prepared for. Learn how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA. We can even arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or send it directly to your home. Do not delay. Call 888-747-3309 or register online at cornerstoneassetmetals.com today. Invest in precious metals and create security in your future today. Call now.
Welcome back. Now, we're trying to get to the value of money itself. Well, money being defined, of course, by the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8. Mind you, most of us still believe in the Constitution, minus the radicalist socialists on the left. The Constitution is a really amazing document, and it's one that's going to stay if us military guys have anything to say. So the value of real money, according to the Constitution, is silver. And silver, we're showing you how, over time, we've been able to sustain our buying power, protect our assets, and preserve our retirement in the long term by holding silver instead of paper asset. This is a chart of a 200-year, some of you may have seen this, 200-year Dow and gold ratio. And basically how much gold it takes to buy a share of the Dow, vice versa. It's a ratio that 200 years is really a nice way to view. This goes back to the 1800s on the left. And if you notice up to the midpoint there, the red line, you notice in the green shade, it's pretty consistent. Up and down, the values went up and down for the most part over literally 120 years, 115 years. That's because gold as our money and silver as our money kept stable the ability to expand budgets, meaning you couldn't spend what you don't have, right? We all can't spend what we don't have, minus credit cards. And let's just say we have a serious credit card hangover here in this country. But this chart at the middle point is when 1913 came, and then the socialist Keynesian and the socialist Fed Reserve System came in place and really co-opted the money. Since then, you notice the gyrations on the right. The first gyration was the Great Depression. The next one goes into, was that, let me double check that. Is that really what it was? Yeah, it was. That was the big market crash. I forgot that was so big. And then we had the last one of 2008 that's coming off of now. But here's what basically this means in the Dow and the gold. Eventually, this chart over 200 years shows we will have it equal. It will be trending back down to zero, meaning the Dow and the price of gold will be equal. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Dow 8,000, gold 8,000? Not sure. People don't believe that that's possible with this, but I'm just showing you this chart doesn't lie, and unless something miraculous is pulled out, which Trump may be able to pull that, we are going to see the Dow Jones come off in a way where gold rises in a way that, talk about wealth transfer. This chart is probably the best one I've ever seen, Charles, because it shows our entire history.
Well, people again need to realize that when they're investing in something tangible, that it's something for their future that's going to be substantial. It's going to last for a while. Man, when you're playing the stock market, and I think that's a good term to use, playing the stock market, because it's kind of like you're playing roulette or playing whatever, because you are gambling, because it doesn't necessarily matter what's going on in a particular company that causes the stock to be at a certain level. I mentioned 3 or 4 weeks ago about we had bought into one of the exercise companies that was expanding, and the stocks were just skyrocketing. And all it took was one investigation by the FTC, just an announcement that we thought this stock has gone up too fast, too high, and everybody sold off. It's perception is what it is.
Yes, and we have financial advisors.
Not reality.
And it's not. And God bless the financial advisors, right? I mean, it's their job, okay? And I have a lot of friends in it, and we all debate it pretty hard. But they can only put you in this paper. And here's the best story, Charlie. Let me tell this story. This is a great story. Now, we're talking about gold and the value of gold and money, right? And over time. Well, a friend of mine, one of the top numists in this country, collectible, has a guy come in, and he's got a stack of $20 bills. They happen to have been gold certificates from back in the day. He had inherited the home from his grandfather, and he was breaking down a wall, he was remodeling, and inside the wall, taped to the 2x4s were stacks of bills, $20 gold certificate bills. Now back then, that $20 bill was exchangeable for a 1-ounce gold coin. They were equal. But he put the certificates, the receipts in the wall, not the real gold. Well, the guy was pretty excited. It was probably about $250,000 in $20 bills, which is pretty substantial, obviously, for that man to have saved. And he was excited because he said, okay, it's got collectible value, so he took it to my friend. And he said, yes, it's worth more than $250,000 because they're collectibles. But then he and I crunched the numbers. If that grandfather would have put actual gold coins in the wall instead of the $20 paper receipts, that grandson would have found an inheritance instead of $250,000. Ready? 12 million was the value of gold today compared to. And that you cannot translate wealth transfer any better than that, because over long terms, they never wanted us to understand the value of real money. But the facts over time, and I believe Charles had it right, we're short term in America. I believe we're educated and groomed to think that way. But over time, we have always been in superior position financially by doing the gold and the silver as our money savings. And it doesn't change any bit here. So,
well, again, the name of this show is Wealth Transfer. So you can see it on the front of the desk. And the idea of that, you know, we talked about this a long time before we started this show many years ago. And the idea is to get it in position where that wealth is transferred to you and not from you.
That's right.
We've just seen so many people, and there's so many biblical principles that we can apply. And a lot of those things are being said without us using scripture references. You know, the Bible says that God wants us to prosper. It's His desire. 3 John verse 2, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul doeth prosper. Well, that's God's design and His will for us, but His will doesn't just automatically take place in our lives. We have to be people that are willing to follow His direction. One of the things that He instructs us to do is to be a good manager. A good manager, He said, would inherit everything that God has at some point. The master has. I think that's a powerful, what a powerful, powerful statement. To think that God loves you so much that He wants you to be so blessed that He would give you control to manage everything that He has. But we have to be in a position for wealth to be transferred to us and not from us. As we leave today, we're going to be back next week, but as we leave today, we want to leave you with this message. Watch this. We'll see you next week. Have a great week.